Hello, this is a long overdue recording of blend trees in Unity. I've been meaning to do this ever since I did my first recording on the Animator, and so I want to go in really quickly into demonstrate how this works. And I am going to provide an example set of files here. So bringing this in, I've got some animations. There's an FBX file. And then there's associated animation files with that 3D model. So let me go ahead and bring those in as a group. And this is what we're going to base things off of here. So let me do that first. Again, I don't necessarily recommend you drop all of your assets in the root folder for animations, but this will work just fine as we get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to sort of maybe demonstrate what the goal is here, and I'll play some video along here as I describe this. But at Adam Jack, we had we had this idea that we had the robot would run and at various points wanted to grab the girl and throw the girl on his back. Basically, it was the girl initiating the grab, and the robot would reach out and grab, whether it was straight up or off to either sides or straight down, depending on where she was at. And we wanted that to actually blend really nicely, no matter what the angle was. So you can imagine a situation when she's 20 degrees off and 3 feet away versus when she is maybe 90 degrees and 10 feet away, and to be able to blend those animations together nicely, no matter where she was actually at. So in order to demonstrate that, what I want to do is I want to bring in a set of animations, which I've done here. And taking a look here at these animations, we've got these eyeballs. So let me go ahead and bring this rig in, and it's just these eyeballs here that I'm going to be looking at. And I'm going to the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate the avatar from this model. So that's the first step. So now I've got an avatar, and if you look here, the avatar was created. I believe it's. Oh, I got to apply that. There's the avatar. The avatar has been created. And now that there's an avatar here, all of these animations, let me pull this down here so you can see the details. All of these animations in the different directions that you might look, I am going to then tell them to get the avatar, copy from another avatar. And in this case, it's going to be the avatar that we just created. I pair happy avatar. It's got that avatar added at the end automatically. So let's go ahead and apply that. And so now that we have a set of eyes and animations and paired there, we can take a look at them. You'll notice they're extreme. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Let's look at the front animation. So you'll see this here. So the character's looking directly in front of you, and what I can play this animation, switching over to the animation itself. Let me go ahead and play that, and you'll see that it's just a pose. It's just the character looking forward. I think there's like 10, 11 frames, something like that. But there is no significant change in animation. But you'll notice that the eyebrows are lowered, the eyes are looking forward, and then if we look at the left one here, you'll notice that he's looking to the left off stage, I guess stage right, but I guess it's stage left. Yeah, stage left. I don't know. Looking to the eyeballs left as opposed to our right. And so we'll look at that at the positive and negative on the X there. But the eyebrows raised. And the reason you can't see the pupil right now is because it's way extreme, and that's going to be important to use those extreme values so that when we then figure out where we're looking, we are if we're looking off from 45 degrees, then the eyeballs will look the right direction. But again, that's a separate. But if you look at this, if you were to play this here, this animation loop, you'd see it just loops through and really doesn't do much animation. It's just basically a pose. So now that we've got those set up in place, let's go ahead and bring this eye pair in here. And you'll notice it immediately has an animator associated with it, and there's no controller. So let's make a controller. Again, I don't necessarily recommend this as far as the place where you locate your animations, but let's go ahead and add a animation controller. Let's give it a name like I pair controller. There we go. And so then we've got that again. Use better naming conventions and potentially hierarchy in your folder structure than I will necessarily be using in this example. But let's just use this to get started. Now that we have that, we can then associate that controller right there. And as we discussed in the other video, the controller is just a state machine. And so we're going to just use one state machine here in this case. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create a new blend tree. And that's the secret of this sauce here. And we double click on that to create the blend tree. And what we're going to do is we're going to blend between multiple animations based on some incoming parameters. So clicking on the left here, this parameter, there's one parameter right now. It's called blend. It can be run from 0 to 1. And right now there's nothing here. So let's go ahead and add a couple of animation tracks. So make sure we're clicked on there, or motions, or whatever you want to call them. We're going to add a motion, then we're going to add another motion, and then we're going to add, well, let's just start with two motions there to demonstrate as an example. Let's go ahead and grab the left animation as one, and grab the right animation as the other. And you'll immediately see that we're here. And if we grab this little drag and drop little red arrow here, we already have some really cool behavior. Just between those two animations, we're blending between them because animations are nothing but a series of bones and transforms, and we're just blending probably linearly through these transforms. And we've got these extremes. We get this nice ability to look left and right. I'm going to add one more just because you'll notice that the numbers here are 0 to 1. I'm actually going to add another one here, and I'm going to add the front one. And another thing to mention is if you were to do something like eyes like this, you'd also want the ability for the character to blink. And so think about that when you're building this. Maybe you've got a blink animation, but we've got left, right, and front. And so I'm going to move the front there just so I've got logically left, front, and right. And then I can change these values here. This is going to run from -1. And then this one is going to be this far. Well, that's already 1. So that's great. We've got values of -1 to 0 to 1. And then we've updated this here. So 0 is forward, 1 is off to the right, and -1 is off to the left, depending on which left and right we're talking about. Okay, so we've got those set up. We've got a value. Let's see if we can drive this with maybe a script, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to click back here. I'm going to add a component, type in eye tracking script. I've used that name before, so it's automatically typing it in there. But that's a new script called eye tracking script. Create and add. And let's go ahead and open that up. I'm using Visual Studio. And I don't know what version of Unity I'm using right now. I guess 2020.3. Basically, nothing's changed for a number of years. So don't worry too much about your Unity version. And let's just get rid of these because those are a bit of a distraction. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to grab a reference to the animation controller. So that is going to be the animator itself. And the animator has the controller as part of it. You can see it here. It's linked there. Interesting to note when we start referencing this, we will reference the animator and the values on the animator, which will pass through the runtime controller. But just something to keep in mind there. I'm just going to call it something stupid like my animator. Again, use better naming conventions. And then we're going to, I'm not going to do any kind of error checks in this one just because it's, I want to keep the example simple, but we're going to get that component and we're going to get the component of animator. And there we've got that. And then now we need this part where I was saying we need to reference the value inside there. So we know that this is a float value. We know it's called blend inside the blend tree. That's a default value. So we'll use that just to start off here. I will say my animator dot set float because it's a float value. And we do this by name or you can do it by index. Not the greatest for coding styles, but it works. And then we're going to set this to be something. Well, where are we going to set it? Let's create a new function here. Let's call it A float, we got to make this public so that we can see it. Float equals 0.0f because we're looking straight forward. Let's do a range here. A range, what is it? Negative 1.0f to 1.0f to just make that work a little nicer. And what am I? Oh, I need to make this give it a name. The important part there. So let's call that the blend parameter. And grab that blend parameter. Put it in there. So the idea here now is we've got a script. The script will give us the access to a floating value. We'll be able to move that floating value at runtime. That floating value will be pushed into the animator as a float that heads to that blend tree. If everything works correctly, let's save all. Switch over here. Give it a second. I'm going to run it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the scene view. So I don't want to move the things around. I just want to just take a look at this thing here. And there it is. And if we've got this value here, if everything works, there we've moved it left and right, and the eyes are moving as expected. So now what do we have? We have a script that has a value, and the value is driving a controller, and the controller is blending between, over on the animator here, 3 different values, and we're able to basically track that position. So now let's say we don't want to do this, sort of programmatically, or have to edit the value here. Oops, we don't want to edit the value here. What we want to do is we want to actually have something else driving this. So let's go back to our scene. Let's stop this so we don't get ourselves confused. And let's create a 3D object. We're going to create a sphere. Let's put that sphere, let's start it at 0, 0, 0. And then let's move this here. And I guess the other thing is if my artist was with me, he would tell me that this light needs to be rotated so that we can see those eyes, those beautifully created eyes, a little better. So let's, not the camera, sorry. Let's grab the light and rotate the light around. There we go. Oh, yeah. Nice. There, maybe off a little bit here. There, so it shows up nice. Okay, and then let's take this sphere. Let's make this sphere a little smaller. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. So then we can grab that and move it around. And the idea will be have the eyes follow the sphere. That's the goal that we're going to set for ourselves today. Let's go ahead and save this stuff here. But let's go back to our script. And so what are we going to need in the script? We're going to need, let's get rid of this range value here. Let's go ahead and instead we need to get a reference to that sphere, right? So we've got a public transform, and we're going to call this my sphere. And we need to now use the my sphere. So let's do the diff, right? So we're going to say, let's say vector 3, 3D vector. Okay, so we got a new vector 3. We're going to call it the diff between those two. And we're going to want to do transform dot position minus my sphere as a transform and its position, right? Okay, so that's going to give us a nice diff value. But of course, we want this to be normalized because we want a value from 0 to 1, no matter which coordinate we're talking about, the x or the y coordinate. And so let's just say, let's for sake of clarity, I wouldn't, this is an extra step, but we'll call it the normalized, and this just diff dot normalized. Obviously, what you'd want to do is you wouldn't want to necessarily do it this way, but this works. And then instead of the blend value that we put in here being the blend param, we can actually get rid of this altogether. Now let's leave that there. Actually, let's leave that blend param so we can watch it change. And let's set it to my blend param dot x, or blend param equals normalized dot x, right? So it will be the normalized value. The x value of that is what we're going to send to the blend parameter. I'm going to keep it using the blend parameter as a variable so that we can watch it as we move it. We'll watch it potentially change over here in our script. So let's go ahead and save that. And we'll switch back over here. Give it a second to compile. Reload some script assemblies. Okay, now we have to go into the actual animation eyeballs, and we see the my sphere there. So let's go ahead and drag and drop that there. And we've got that blending parameter is currently at 0. Let's run this thing. Look back over that scene. And let's actually throw this animation, this animator over to the window here so we can see if anything changes over there. Move some screens around here. Okay, and then let's grab this guy. We're running, yeah. And let's make sure we're on the move. And if we've done things correctly, oh look, we haven't. And why is that? Because that I used negative x to x, and I've got the wrong direction, right? So that's easily changed. I can go back in here and switch back to my value, and I can just use the negative value. No problem. Again, and again, it's because we're talking about whether it's stage left or stage right in that case. Okay, now if we do this, look at that, and not only does it work from far away, but if we move him a little closer or move him up or left, we don't have up and down working. But if we move him closer and down, that still lines up really nicely because we're using those normalized values and not the actual, not trying to do something more complicated. All we need is the values there. So anyway, next, also look at those eyebrows. Look at those eyebrows. Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, so let's do the last piece here, which is going to make this actually work for up and down. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and stop. Let's switch back over here. We're going to need to bring in all of those other values, right? Let's put it right there. We're going to need to bring in all those other values, and there's a bunch of values that we need to bring in, or a bunch of animations. So we've got right now basically with no change in y, we've got that working, and then we need the looking up, front, and right. Left, front, and right when we're looking up, and left, front, and right when we're looking down. So in order to do that, we need to change the blend tree type to 2D freeform Cartesian, which is one of my favorites, the way this works. And we need to add 6 more values here. So let's go ahead. Okay, so now we need to bring in those are front ones. Let's bring in the, let's see, we got. But let's go ahead and so we've got, in this case, left, front, and right with zero in the x. And we've got left, front, and right up. So that's going to be, we're going to say all of these values. So we got x and y. So let's see, this is going to be, this is -1, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 0, right? And then -1, and in this case, the y is up, so we want above it. And if we get that wrong, we can always change it later. And this is going to be 1, and then this is going to be -1, or this is going to be 1 and 1. Okay, and so then the same thing here, we want -1, and in this case, we're down, so it's -1. Just make all these -1, and then this is -1, 0, and 1. Okay, so we've got those values set up correctly, and you can see here in the little viewer here the way this ends up showing up. We need to have 2 parameters, so let's go ahead and switch back over here. Let's change this to call this x pause, and we'll add a new one called a new float called y pause. And so those values come in, and so now we need to go over here and make sure that this is using x pause and this one's using y pause for the second value. And then you can see now that we've got we've lined all these things up in the right position. They show up here, and then if I grab this again, this little red dot, I can then move this around, and you can see visually for each one of these positions, and it's telling me I got an error, 2 or more or too close. So it looks like I did this wrong. That should be 1. Okay, that should be correct there. Okay, mistakes happen. Okay, so then we've got that. Let's spin this guy around here so we can take a look at what this actually looks like. Make sure we've got it the right direction. So this is down, and whoops, the red one, not the blue one. Okay, so down and to the right. There we go. Up and to the right. And you can see that these are, so when I'm off to the right here, he's looking to the left. And when I'm looking to the left, he's off to the right. That's a good clue that I've got these backwards to the way it would be that other value that we needed. So let's just, but we won't worry about those right now. But you can see this actually works out really well. You can visualize things with these dots. You can see the values over here on the left are changing, which is excellent to see. And you can see also as you move around the highlighting of these blend states, you can see how those change, so you can get a good idea of what's happening. Okay, so we've got those in place. Let's next thing is to switch back over to our script, and we need to take into account that we've got two values, right? So we've got to basically send in two floats here. So let's remember that we had two values. The first value is the x position and y position. So what we can do here is just get rid of that blend param altogether. And we're going to use for the x position, right? So we named this, I'm looking up here, we named that x pos and y pos with a capital P. We're setting two floats. We're setting an x pos and we're setting a y pos. Again, the case is important as we put these values in here. And in this case, we're going to use the normalized. And let's just do this one extra step removed. So let's just show how we can do this in dot normalized. And so then we can in one step get our normalized diff. And so this should be negative diff dot x if the negative is still correct. And this should be diff dot y. And we'll see if that's correct as we run it. So we've saved this. Again, kind of gotten rid of this blend position altogether because we don't really need it. We can watch it using the blend tree. So let's save all of that. Okay, I think that's all we need to do. That's that save. Let's go ahead and run that. Let's see if we got what we wanted to get. Switch back over to the scene. Move this guy around. And it looks like we're backwards, right? Although it does look pretty good. So let's go ahead and switch those values there. Get back to our tracker. And mainly I've done this, so I expected this, but this point here is to demonstrate how easy it is to fix problems if you're visualizing things correctly. So let's go ahead and run that. Switch back to the scene. Let's take a look. Let's look from a different angle here. And let's see if we can get that. Oh, look at that. Those eyeballs are watching. And again, what did I make? These weren't animated. They weren't to any level of any of these in-between states. All we did was a set of positions, and we were able to blend between those. Now for the game Atom Jack, for the game Wayward at Atom Jack, what we did is we actually had it animated. So the robot would reach out and there would be a loop that we would go through that were all blended together. But the same exact concept applies in both cases. As you see, this is kind of awesome. Even if we move way off to the left, you'll see why that real extreme value was important to deal with what happens when you're way past the extreme. Of course, you go too far, and we're behind the value there. But that's what we got, and so really works well. And hope you learned something. Shout out if you want me to follow up with anything. I will try to put some of these assets, link them somewhere so that you can have access to them and try it yourself. Again, maybe add some blending to some blinking and do all kinds of other cool stuff is possible here. Thanks for watching, and let me know if in the comments or with a thumbs up if this is something that you like, and if so, then I can always do more of these kind of tutorials.